Okay, let's jump right in. There's this really striking paradox when you look at credit cards. On one side, you've got the average American household, right? Federal Reserve says they're carrying over 6 grand in credit card debt. Just the interest on that could probably pay for a pretty decent vacation. But then you have financially successful people, even millionaires, using the exact same plastic cards. And they're using them to actually build wealth, travel basically for free, get all these significant rewards. So what's going on here? What's the disconnect? What are most people missing? Welcome to today's deep dive. We're going to unpack the real story behind credit cards. We'll look at how they can trap people, but more importantly, how you can flip things around so they work for you. We've gone through the research, looked at the facts, the mindset shifts, the practical stuff, and we're ready to share it.
It really is fascinating, isn't it? It's the same tool, fundamentally, but the outcomes are just worlds apart. It really comes down to understanding and critically how you actually use it. It just highlights, how vital financial literacy and just plain discipline really are.
Absolutely. And the scale of the issue,
Yeah.
when you dig into the numbers our sources provide, it's kind of mind-blowing. We're talking Federal Reserve data from 2024 showing Americans owe, collectively, over $1.1 trillion in credit card debt.
Trillion dollars. Yeah.
And the average interest rate, over 22% APR. That's a huge amount of money vanishing into thin air.
It is staggering. And you have to ask, okay, if the numbers are that stark, why do so many people fall into this? Our sources suggest it's often because, well, many people just aren't taught how money really works. There's maybe this perception of credit as like free money at first.
Right, until the bill comes due.
Exactly. Or maybe they see the minimum payment and think, oh, I can handle that. But that feeling of control disappears pretty quickly when that compounding interest really starts to bite.
Yeah, it's like a sequence, isn't it?
Like, yeah.
Our sources map it out. It might start with just one missed payment, then bam, a late fee. Then the interest starts compounding. You're paying interest on the interest you already owed. Stress builds up. And before you know it, maybe it even goes to collections. Dave Ramsey, the personal finance guy, he put it pretty bluntly. He said, debt is not a tool, it's a thief. It steals your future. And that really hits home for a lot of people stuck in that cycle.
That's the debt spiral right there, that progression you just described. That's the trap. It's not just about the money, it's the psychological weight, the stress. It really does snowball. And knowing this, knowing how damaging it can be for so many, that makes the contrast even sharper when we look at how financially successful people handle credit.
Right. And that brings us to what our research points to as, let's call it the Millionaire Playbook.
Oh, great. Our sources consistently show that wealthy individuals, people who are financially free, they just don't get caught in the debt trap. And it's because they stick to basically 3 core principles with their credit cards.
Okay, principle number 1, this is probably the absolute most important one. They never pay interest, period. They pay off their balances completely every single month. No exceptions.
And it's deeper than just avoiding a fee, The research suggests it's about understanding how money works efficiently, capital efficiency. Every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that isn't working for you somewhere else, like in an investment, compounding for you. For them, a credit card is just for smoothing out cash flow for a few weeks. It's not for financing stuff they can't actually afford right now. It's about keeping their money moving, working for them.
Makes sense. Okay, rule number 2. They are relentless about maximizing rewards. They're strategic about using cards, maybe like an Amex Platinum or a Chase Sapphire Preferred, the ones. They rack up thousands of points. And we're talking real benefits here. Flying business class basically for free, booking really nice hotels like $1,500 a night places, just using points. Or even just getting cash back and putting it straight into an investment account. It's like getting paid for your normal spending.
And this really gets at how the system works. Based on what we've seen, credit card companies make money on every swipe, right? That interchange fee. So they're okay giving a little slice back as rewards because they know a lot of people will carry a balance, and those people will pay them way more in interest than the rewards cost. The wealthy just understand this game and they flip it. They get the rewards without paying the interest.
Smart. And the third principle. They use credit as a strategic tool, maybe like a lever, but definitely not as a crush to lean on. They use credit deliberately to build strong credit scores. And that good score then opens doors, lower interest rates on business loans, better mortgage terms, the ability to scale their businesses.
Yeah.
But the key thing our sources stress, they never use credit cards to just cover basic living costs because they're short on cash. It's all calculated leverage, not desperation spending.
Exactly. It shows credit itself isn't the villain here. It's a powerful tool. Wielded the right way, with discipline and understanding, it can unlock real opportunities. It's all about knowing why you're using it and never ever relying on it just to get by day to day.
Okay, so right now you might be listening and thinking, yeah, great, but I'm not a millionaire.
Hmm.
And here's the good news. You absolutely don't need to be. These principles, they're accessible to everyone. Anyone can adopt them. And this is where our deep dive gets really practical, because the research lays out exactly how you can start beating the credit card game. It just means adopting a new set of rules for yourself. Let's walk through 6 practical strategies you can start using, like today. First one, super critical. Treat your credit card like it's your debit card, meaning only charge something if you actually have the cash in your checking account to pay it off right now. If the money isn't there, the card stays put. It's about basic discipline with your cash flow.
It sounds so simple, doesn't it? But it's incredibly powerful. If you stick to that, you literally cannot rack up high interest debt. It forces you to live within your means, which is, fundamental.
Second strategy, pay it off in full. Always. We touched on this, but minimum payments are they're a killer, a costly trap. Think about this example from our sources. Say
Right.
you have a $5,000 balance, average interest rate 22%. If you only make minimum payments, it takes almost 18 years to pay off. And you end up paying over $7,000 just in interest. You've paid more than double for whatever you bought.
That really shows compounding interest working against you in a big way. But when you switch to paying in full each month, poof, the credit card stops being a liability. It becomes neutral, or maybe even a positive if you're getting rewards. You just turn off that destructive interest engine.
Third, use auto pay. Specifically, set it up to pay the full statement balance automatically. Set it and forget it, basically. This stops you from accidentally missing a payment. Because missed payments, they hammer your credit score and they can trigger horrible penalty interest rates, much higher APRs. Auto pay is like a safety net.
And that hit on the credit score is huge. Payment history is the biggest single factor in your FICO score. Just one late payment can drop your score significantly. It tells lenders you might be risky. That can affect everything: mortgages, car loans, even insurance rates down the line. AutoPay just takes that risk off the table.
Fourth tip, choose the right card for your spending habits. If you travel a lot, yeah, get a travel points card. Drive a ton. Look for gas rewards. Spend mostly on groceries. Get a grocery rewards card. The idea is to make the money you're already spending work a bit harder for you. Match the card to your life. Fifth, look at sign-up bonuses. Lots of cards offer them. You might see like $500 bonus if you spend $3,000 in the first 3 months. These can be great. But, and this is a big but, our sources emphasize only go for it if that spending is for things you absolutely were going to buy anyway. Don't use it as an excuse to just buy extra stuff you don't need.
Yeah, that's the trap right there. The bonus is meant to get you to spend more. If you're smart about it, you just capture that bonus from your normal planned spending. Great. But if you overspend just to hit the bonus, you wipe out the benefit, and you could easily end up back in that debt cycle we talked about. Totally. Okay, sixth strategy. Keep an eye on your credit utilization. This means the amount of credit you're using compared to your total credit limit. General rule of thumb. Keep it below 30%. So if you have a $10,000 limit, try never to have a balance over $3,000 reported on your statement, even if you plan to pay it all off when the bill comes. That utilization number matters for your score.
It absolutely does. Credit bureaus see high utilization using a large chunk of your available credit as a sign of potential financial stress, like maybe you're overextended. Staying below 30%, or even better, below 10% for the best scores, shows lenders you're managing credit responsibly. It directly feeds into your FICO score and how creditworthy you appear. And actually, before we get to a real-life story, here's kind of a bonus tip that pulls this all together. Start setting specific credit goals. Aim high. Try to get your credit score above 750. Why? Because a great score gives you serious leverage. Lower interest rates on a mortgage can save you tens, even hundreds of thousands over the life of a loan. Better terms on business loans, sometimes even lower car insurance premiums. Your credit score really is like a financial superpower if you manage it well. Now, to make this really concrete, let me share an example our research highlighted. It's about a teacher from Ohio named Lauren. She was really struggling, had about $12,000 in credit card debt, living paycheck to paycheck, felt trapped. So she decided things had to change. She got serious. First, she built a real detailed budget, tracked everything. Then she switched to using a cash envelope system for things like groceries and entertainment stuff where it's easy to overspend.
That cash envelope system. It's old school, but it works for a reason. It creates a physical, tangible limit. Once the cash is gone, it's gone. Credit cards make it way too easy to bypass that feeling.
Exactly. And then she did something smart with the debt itself. She got a 0% APR balance transfer card, moved her high-interest debt onto that. That gave her breathing room, a period where she wasn't racking up new interest, so her payments could actually make a dent in the principal.
And that's key, using that 0% period strategically. It wasn't a license to spend more. It was a tool to pause the interest clock while she attacked the debt aggressively.
Right. She also cut out non-essential spending ruthlessly and even picked up a side hustle tutoring to bring in extra cash. And the result?
Let me guess, she paid it off.
She did. In just 18 months, she was completely debt-free. 12 grand gone.
Wow, that's fantastic. That takes serious commitment.
It really does. And now, she's totally flipped her script. She uses a cashback credit card for all her groceries, pays it off in full every month, of course,
Mm,
earns maybe 3 to 5% back. And guess what she does with that cash back?
hopefully invest it.
You got it. Puts it straight into her Roth IRA, building for retirement. Her story just shows it wasn't some kind of magic. It was changing her mindset and sticking to a plan with discipline. Anyone can do that.
It's a perfect example. The tools, the strategies, they're out there for everyone. It really boils down to making that conscious choice. Learn this stuff, take control, and apply it consistently. That's the path to financial freedom.
So let's wrap this up. Here's the main takeaway from our deep dive today. Credit cards themselves, not evil. Debt itself, not necessarily the enemy. It's the misuse of credit that causes the problems. That's the real danger. But if you understand the rules, if you apply the strategies that financially savvy use, you really can unlock amazing benefits. Travel for free, earn cash back, build a fantastic credit score, and never, ever pay a dime in interest. Ultimately, if you want to build wealth, if you want to master your money, you need to learn to use these financial tools the way the wealthy do, not the way advertisers maybe push you to. It really is time to stop just being a pawn in the credit system and start becoming a master of it. Something to think about. Until next time, stay financially sharp.